That's what develops low back problems. And my first go-to fix suggestion for these people would be to sit in a soft squat for 5 to 10 minutes.
Dude, it sounds so easy and it sounds like it wouldn't work, but surprisingly, most people have never tested that capacity. Hey, can you sit below parallel? You do this at 10 times on a clock. I see you do it all the time. I thought that was kind of 5 minutes. It was kind of 10 minutes. No, I have my timer on my phone and I'm staring at it the entire time while I'm sitting below parallel. I was working on your elbow the other day. You've had this agitated, flared up elbow. And so you start getting into like, all right, I've been through injury before. What the heck? I don't want to ruin my training. I want to stay in the right direction. What do I do? And you came up with this awesome topic.
Yeah, so basically what I'm kind of at the stage like, hey, I got this elbow, tennis elbow, tendonitis. I'm not too sure of it just yet. But I'm kind of at that stage like, hey, what do you do now? Do you take some time off? Do you try to get back into the gym? So I'm trying to come up with things, I have to do that doesn't further injure myself, right? So I kind of came up with a topic by having some non-negotiables that I can't miss. That's when I ran it by you. Like, hey, what are some things you have to do that you can't miss no matter what's going on in your everyday life?
Yeah, because these are the things that keep us consistent. They keep our moods better. And they just, like you said, we feel like we're not, we're taking a step back, obviously, because of injury or other things that are happening in our life. But it's a 1 step back and 2 steps forward. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that because that 2 steps forward, 1 step back is still in the right direction versus I stop absolutely everything I'm doing. I put my membership on hold. I stop doing my diet and my nutrition, and I come back 2 months later, and it's like for those people starting back at square one because they didn't have non-negotiables in their training.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to backtrack. Worst case scenario, you just sustain where you're at right now. If not, still try to get some sort of progress. I think we can probably kick off with the first one we both had in common, squatting.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable. I think you don't realize how powerful squatting is to the physiological, from the inner workings, from a hormonal response, lifting heavy produces, going heavy on lower body, just not heavy on upper body, produces for natural testosterone, IGF, all these precursors to muscle.
Yeah, no, the squat is probably the most functional compound lift you can do. So you're doing that, you're burning more calories, you're building more muscle. There's numerous muscles involved. You can go light, you can go heavy. If there's one movement you could do every single day for the rest of your life that you should do, it'd probably be a squat.
Squat, and that's a great point. It's not heavy or light. It's drop below parallel every which way Mm-hmm. And I have to do that at least twice a week. So I have to get the pump in my legs no matter how I do that. If I want to be more systematic, one of those days I'm going to get really heavy, and the other ones it's going to be a higher volume kind of circuit style, but I'm still pumping the legs. And that's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, no, and you're kind of going off the aspect of training. Another aspect on the other end of the spectrum is it'll keep you healthy. That's kind of my biggest suggestion all the time is to squat more or sit in a below parallel soft squat for 5 to 10 minutes. That's my suggestion for anyone that says, hey, I have a really tight low back, or hey, I'm kind of running into these back problems. Chances are you're running into these back problems not because you're deadlifting in the gym, but you're sitting in a desk job for 6 to 8 hours a day when you're outside of the gym. If you find yourself in a job where you're sitting for numerous hours, that's what develops low back problems. And my first go-to fix suggestion for these people would be to sit in a soft squat for 5 to 10 minutes.
Dude, it sounds so easy and it sounds like it wouldn't work, but surprisingly, most people have never tested that capacity. Hey, can you sit below parallel? You do this at 10 times on a clock. I see you do it all the time. Not, I thought that was kind of 5 minutes. It was kind of 10 minutes. No, I have my timer on my phone and I'm staring at it the entire time while I'm sitting below parallel. And many people can't do that because they catch too much tension or cramps within the muscles and tendons around the lower body ligaments. They don't have that capacity yet to sit that long. That's problematic. I believe, as most indigenous people can manage, to sit below parallel for long periods of time. That's the natural motion. I also believe that most people are complicated flexibility with all these fancy stretches and all this shit. 90% of someone's lower body flexibility will and can be improved by sitting below parallel for 10 minutes on average, 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this was a movement we originally had, right? If you see a toddler or an infant, they have a beautiful, deep squat, right?
Every day.
You see him sitting there like, that's picture perfect. Torso is nice and upright, full range of motion in his knees, hips, and ankles. And this is something we lose over time, okay? 9 times out of 10 it's because we sit in a freaking chair too much.
Yeah, it's really scary. And sitting like that in a chair, not active, not compressed, you lose a lot of circulation. And so, I mean, the best feeling I get is at the end of the 10 minutes when I stand up, my legs feel like different legs. They improve circulation, they feel more limber, they feel looser. But people don't take enough time and hold that for long periods of time to get the effect. They'll do it for a minute, they're lucky to do it for 2, but nobody is sitting consistently 2 to 3 days a week below parallel for 5 to 10 minutes. It sounds so simple, they don't think it would work until they actually start putting it into their training. We believe that style, sitting in squats for 5 to 10 minutes, is part of training. It's not this outlier, this thing you do here. It is part of training any more than you think about exercise and nutrition.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's especially my go-to on long road trips where I'm sitting in a car.
That's good.
Anytime we'll stop, for a pee break at a gas station or something, dude, I'll be in a squat for, 3 to 5 minutes just to kind of decompress that low back from sitting in a car for hours.
Well, what we said about squatting, normally going heavy, going light, where you do need an object, there is absolutely no excuse at any time of the day that you can't sit below parallel. It is non-discriminatory. Anybody can do it at any time, regardless of wealth and health. You can sit below parallel.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the ones that we were talking about from an exercise sake, and obvious for what we do, but I think that people need to challenge intensity by elevating their heart rate over 80% of their max heart rate. That is typical for anaerobic training, circuit training, but I think the vascular pump that it produces from a cardiovascular perspective, the heart or the system, the pump from head to toe, is enormous. It's enormous, and it improves my mood. If I want, I've been sitting down all day and I just feel like crappy, if I can go out to the gym and do Tabata sit-ups or Tabata squats, I get an instant improvement in mood.
Yeah, you're kind of getting your engine running, right? You're moving, you're getting your engine running. Just something that comes into mind is, it's one of our biggest pet peeves when we ask someone, hey, what are you doing currently fitness-wise? And they tell me, hey, I'm going for a light walk down the street, right? You're not you're moving, but you're not elevating your heart rate enough to kind of get that stimulus of, get sweating, get moving, get elevated heart rate.
It's scary that people are considering a natural movement like walking exercise. It's very scary, and I have to question what they believe exercise is at this point, because it takes a re-education to get them to understand that that's a daily activity. That is not exercise. What I would like to see them do, speed walk, light jog for 10 seconds. I can guarantee that light jog for someone who thinks walking is exercise will increase their heart rate above 80%, and then let them walk for 2 minutes. But really they're doing circuit stuff. They're doing interval stuff. That they'll get more improvement, not to mention the 48-hour window that your metabolism is increased because of those high intensity workouts. And that's why those are so powerful.
Yeah, basically we need to see at least a little bit of shortness of breath, a little bit of sweat, coming down the forehead. You got to get to that point to feel like you're actually training.
Yeah, and the other one is the endocrine response. It's why CrossFit is so popular. It's what we sold, was that this style of training has the potential to improve hormonal responses, produce better insulin sensitivity. It does a bunch of other things physiologically you don't even see. And for me, the number one indicator of that is mood. Like, it's a brain-body connection. I feel it instantly.
Yeah, you're basically starting that engine, starting your own personal engine, and get it moving. Getting the endorphins running, getting everything flowing correctly how it should be. It's going.
What do you think? How many days a week? I'm thinking 2 to 3 days a week. You have to have that happen 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, easily. Yeah, if you stay out of the gym for more than 3 days at a time, you'll lose your groove, and you'll start losing the benefits that training like that would deliver.
For sure. You got another one, bud? I know we got a couple more.
Yeah. Another one I got is horizontal pulling.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
We do a lot of pressing. We do a lot of vertical pulling, pull-ups, stuff like that. But horizontal pulling, you can consider like a row, any type of rowing. A face pull is another good one with bands is kind of my go-to. But basically, it's to what I like to call bulletproof your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of set your shoulders back in a better position. Ideal, upper back shoulder position is, shoulder blades are back, pinched, and down, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And this is something we also lose over time, that I would also give credit to probably sitting too much. So instead of, our original example, low back wise, we're thinking a little bit higher, upper back wise. We're in that kind of slouched, rounded shoulders, fingers on the keyboards, right? Exactly. Texting, or even sitting at a computer where you're typing, the shoulders are rounded forward. So stronger upper back, stronger shoulders from a pulling standpoint kind of offsets that and kind of centers yourself to kind of get that posture back.
Yeah, there's a symmetry about the body that we're looking to get. And what we're finding, listen, females deal with this too, but particularly men, because they've trained the show muscles so much, they're looking at ab work and chest and shoulders, that they forget everything on the backside because they can't see it in the mirror. And so they have these over tight upper bodies, anterior upper bodies, and their upper back muscles are weak. And it's evident in posture. We call that in personal training kyphosis, where this is overworked, the upper body, chest is overworked, and the upper back is just weak and elongated. And so we want to pull them back into a better position, and it takes a lot of pulling work, because pulling work also is not sexy. It's the least, to me, is the least sexiest exercises. Dumbbell rows, ring rows, barbell bent over rows, like that stuff doesn't excite me. But what from a health perspective, from a shoulder perspective, it's probably the most negated thing in training.
Yeah, no, you know that right on the head. 9 times out of 10, you'll come across a gentleman that would love to sit on the bench press 5 days a week, right?
Okay.
Instead of doing any type of row, when in reality it should be the complete opposite, right? The first question you ask someone when you figure they're into fitness is, how much do you bench, bro?
Oh
right?
my gosh.
And
I love that question.
So
I'll make up, by the way, I'll give up a fake ass number, like 400 pounds.
Yeah, right.
Every time.
Yeah, well, what do you bench first? You tell me your number first, and I'll tell you
always
mine.
go higher.
Right? You got to one up them, right?
Yeah.
But it's all this bench work. Traditionally will bring the shoulders forward, and more pulling work will kind of bring them back. And I'll do my pulling movements with bands as a warm up.
Nice.
Okay, and then anytime I go overhead, any type of pressing movement, that feels like my shoulders are actually warmed up
in better position.
Better position, right? So when I suggest, anytime someone is benching or any type of pressing, a good
really
warm up
good
would be some pulling movement. Anytime I bench, I'm pulling before. I'm rowing. I'm doing banded pull aparts or band face pulls. And I've really attacked this within like the last 6 months. Like I've really attacked this, and the results have been tremendous.
No, it's a good point. What a lot of people don't realize is that upper body pushing exercise require upper back stability muscle groups.
No doubt, 100%.
Bench, for example, yesterday the bench, we are telling athletes to retract and stabilize the shoulder blades against the bench as a force producer for the bar to push against the chest. If they can't, their backs aren't strong enough, or most people don't even know how to retract their shoulder blades because they're not training upper body pulling enough to put them in the right position.
Or they can't even get it back there if they wanted to.
Or limited by range of motion. So I agree. And the best way to do that is, like you said, put it in. Just put it in as part of warm-up. Let it be that thing that's part of it. There's so many missed opportunities here in the gym for people, the 10 minutes that they come early to do these little things. They miss out on huge opportunities. What I could do at 10 minutes before class to build these little things are tremendous. But it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, like what's some ring rows or some band rows going to do for me before the workout? It's tremendous.
No, they rather do the what we call sexy stuff, right?
Yeah, the cool stuff.
The cool stuff that looks good, that feels good, that you feel, you just get a better, you feel like you get more out of it. In reality, you got to take a step back and work on some other stuff. I
agree. I said there's complexity and simplicity this morning, because some people are so caught up with these big, long workouts that they think because that's complex, that's the most difficult version, and it's not. The simplicity of some of these simple CrossFit workouts are the ones that destroy people because of the simplicity.
Yeah, no, the very successful are ones that do the basics very, very well. They master the basics.
Virtuosity, doing the common uncommonly well. It's a beautiful term.
Love it.
And the last one that I think that we should all strive as a non-negotiable is not to go more, for me, not to go more than 2 days in a row without training. After the second day in a row, if I have not gone to training, I know that on that third day, I have to train. I have to move. I have to elevate heart rate. I got to move into the squat. I got to sit. I got to do something to put that into my training. One for the most obvious is mood stabilizer, right? It's an internal mood stabilizer. I don't need pills to do that. I can feel better naturally just by increasing my activity. The other one that sticks for me is that it creates a lifestyle. It's a non-negotiable for me to not move after 2 days. It's part of my life. It's like if I don't do it, I get grounded. Like, that's the penalty I give myself. Like, not cool, Mario. That's not who you are. You're more than that. And that's how I create the lifestyle. Because then if it's like the people that really scare me coming into a facility like ours, Brett, are the people that go hard 7 days in a row for 3 months. Those people scare me because I know it's not sustainable. And so what they'll eventually do is they'll either drop off by the wayside or they'll get hurt. It's just too much too soon. So they don't have the balance. I want a better balance where they're taking the rest days, but they're being more consistent on average with us long term. Not how many classes you do in 3 months, how many classes you do weekly on a 3-year period with us.
Yeah, no, it comes down to consistency, right? That's what delivers results, is doing something compounded over time consistently, instead of what you were getting at is kind of like the yo-yo term, right? You go super, super, super hard, okay? You can get crazy results and then fall off, or super, super hard, suffer a setback, an injury, and then fall off. And you're kind of repeating this cycle to where you're not making any steady progress as if you would if you're doing something consistently, something small at a time, but consistently. You're just you're a hamster on a hamster wheel. Right? You're a hamster on a hamster wheel. And if you can't really get to the gym at least, without 2 days off, like, you're not prioritizing it. You're not prioritizing it. It's on the back burner. You got your work or something that's more important to you instead of your training. And a good way to kind of approach that is go back to the drawing board and say, hey, I need to get back to the gym. It's been 2-3 days. I got to get back in there.
Yeah, that reminds me of why I love our reservation system. We get a better client, we get a better person, and the statistics show that a reservation system produces more consistency long term than people that are allowed to come into gyms whenever they want. Because it requires a more disciplined individual with classes that are capped to sit the weekend before and plan your week out depending on your workouts and work schedule. These people work out more consistently and on average than those people that are going to wake up on a whim and decide based on emotion and feelings whether they want to work out today.
No, you're going to lose.
It does not work.
that comes down to your lifestyle statement, your previous lifestyle. Every time I have a sign up, we show them how to reserve. I say, hey, it's up to you, but if you know your schedule, I'd go ahead and get yourself locked in as far out as you know.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go the next month, you know, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, that's going to be your schedule.
You know the day, it.
You know, if you got your day, and even better, you got your time, it's like freaking clockwork. Like, hey, this is part of my life, this is part of my routine. I work out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 9:30. I'm going to go ahead and reserve, right? It takes out any, decision fatigue, any guesswork or anything. Yeah. It's like, hey, this is part of my routine. I'm reserved. I'm locked in. I'm committed. And now it's just about executing.
Discipline over motivation.
That's
every
it,
single
baby.
time. We appreciate you guys. I hope there was a couple things, a couple gems we could throw at you guys today. We appreciate it as always, man. Don't forget to leave a comment and review. We really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and then these are things you can start implementing right away, guys. We can, drop all this knowledge, but if you don't, say, hey, I'm going to do this today and start, we'll never get anywhere.
Never. Thanks, guys.
See you.